Last week, I was speaking about a question that a number of people ask on the words of the Rambam. The Rambam writes that not only someone doesn't believe in Moshiach, but even someone that's not mechakel b'yasoi, he doesn't await his coming as a kafir. And I discussed various angles about it. I want to dig a little bit deeper, just to help to understand a little bit better some of the points in this discussion on the Rambam, and then we'll go back to some of the things we mentioned last week, some of the other points. Main part of the question that arises here: what does it mean to be mechakel b'yasei? What does the word mechaka, await his coming, mean? And before I continue, I'll give a hakdama right away. What I'm saying now is, I didn't see necessarily printed in any sefer, and I'm not making up my own things, but the way I'm going to deliver what I'm going to say, I'm just putting together my own way. You could agree or disagree. I definitely think it helps understand some of what the Rambam says, but I'm not quoting any direct sefer now, just keep that in mind. So what does the word mechakel b'yasei mean? If you look at mechakel b'yasei from that seems, if it's important to understand that the same word could have a number of angles, and it's important to understand in each particular source that you view, that you're learning what is that particular source emphasizing. It seems to me mechakel b'yasei has three basic meanings. Mechaka means to want, to desire. There's a number of places, I'm not going to go through the Mekaydos now, but there's a number of places that clearly teach mechaka as mis'ava, someone that desires Moshiach. For example, the Rebbe learns, the Rambam writes, "L'nis'avu ha'chachamim v'anavim." The Chachamim and Neviim did not desire Moshiach, they didn't desire it for physical things, but for spiritual things. The Rebbe learns that the nis'ava, the desire, is part of mechaka. And there's Rashi in Sanhedrin and also teaches mechaka mis'ava. I think it's important to give Mekaydos because people, I'm not making this up. The second thing in mechaka is similar to what I discussed last week. The word mechaka means mamtin, to wait. Now, waiting could mean you're waiting, sometimes a person says, let me wait and see what's going to happen. He's not anticipating anything major, he's just, sitting and waiting. So, mechaka here means to wait, to anticipate. Like you say in English, your wait is coming, you're anticipating, what I would think a good word in English is that you expect him to show up.
You know for certain he's going to show up, you just don't know when.
Sure, but then...
That's you know for certain he's going to come. That's mechaka. Mechaka means you're waiting, something
obviously, absolutely. But in other words, the word mechaka means that in other words, in this part of mechaka, there's two parts. There's a belief. You believe that he's going to come, you're expecting him to come. And there's also a certain feeling of anticipation. You're waiting. There's also a regesh. It's not just a belief. It's not just a knowledge. There's also a feeling here. You're waiting. You have it. In other words, not sometimes you want something, but you're not expecting it. Then, when you're expecting something you want, there's a certain feeling of.
That was a hemshich I used it last week.
Yeah, fine. I'll finish my thought. It's a bit complicated.
Then you're going to put your thoughts.
The third aspect of mechaka means is also connected. It's not always some emphasized. It means to be hopeful. In other words, you have the word of you have mechaka means that you're. It's not so emphasized, but Moshe the Rebbe clearly teaches the word mechaka hoffen und warten. That's to use the lashon of the Rebbe. The famous Sikha Pashas Kukas Meri Golan, the Rambam Paradam. And I'll soon explain each one of these three things. Now, what happens is let me backtrack a little bit, discuss a little bit what I discussed last week, and then I'll zoom in on these three meanings. The Rambam writes on, it's not mechakel b'yasei is a kafir, right? The question that most people right away have, why is he a kafir? Now, the question really comes because most people that ask this question, they're interpreting the word mechaka to means to want, to desire. So they ask a question, I believe in Moshiach. If I don't desire him, why should I be a kafir? If you translate the word mechaka to expect him to come, or you translate mechaka to means you hope that he's going to come, so the question is not such a big question. You understand? Let's start off. What is bothering people? Why? What is the question based on? A person opens it up and says, "Mishin imam or mishin mechaka lebiyosei." Not only so, what is the question based on? What bothers people? What bothers people is, at least it seems to me, that I believe Moshiach will come. Deep down, I would want him to come, but I can't say I desire, I want.
Why do you have to believe that b'chol yom?
I'm not getting there yet. I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later. I'm just highlighting how it's important to identify what mechaka means in order to understand why you need to be mechaka.
Why do you draw the conclusion that mechaka means that?
Mechaka means all three things. Mechaka means all three things. But I'm saying I'm just saying it's important to be aware of what you're focusing on in order to understand. The conclusion mechaka, I think, means all three things. I told you there's different sources that clearly explain it one way, another way, third way. But in other words, to understand what the Rambam is highlighting by mechaka l'biyasei, and to understand the context of the question and the context of the answer, you first and foremost have to understand what the context of mechaka means. So I'm saying, when a person asks the question, why if a person is not mechaka l'biyasei is a kafir, what is he asking?
Let's work it this way.
Yeah.
The world, everything, the whole creation of the world was for that.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't I hope for it? Why shouldn't I hope for it?
Of course you should hope for it.
So then he's not hoping, but it's a kafir. It's a kafir because the whole creation of the world was for that. So whatever it is lack of that. For creation. If you know that it's really such a great thing that the Eibush is in Golos and he's suffering, the whole world is suffering, the whole creation was for that. So you don't, you're not mechaka is.
So how are you translating the word mechaka here?
But if I touch it,
how are you translating the word mechaka here?
I'm touching. I think the touch mechaka is, I really believe he's going to come hayom. And that's my question is, why don't I believe tomorrow is not a kafir?
Well, it can be believed because the Rebbe says believe separately.
And the Rambam says separately.
But I'm saying, what did you just say? What's your question? How did you?
You're asking.
No. What was the last thing you just said?
If I believe he has to come today,
yeah.
So if I don't believe today, he'll come tomorrow.
It doesn't say anywhere in halacha that I have to believe that he's definitely going to come today. I have to anticipate and want and hope he should come today.
Whatever mechaka means, mechaka means that I anticipate his coming today. Mechaka means I'm waiting today to come. Ich warte, es kommen jetzt.
Ich warte, ich hoffe und warte. Das meine ich, dass ich glaube, dass wird sicher kommen heint. In other words, halacha tells me that I can't. Okay, I don't want to elaborate on this point, but in the context of halacha doesn't say I have to believe that I'm coming today, because that equals that halacha is telling you, the Eibush is telling you, the Moshiach is coming today. And if he didn't come today, then tomorrow, Torah won't be able to demand of me to believe he's definitely coming tomorrow. Yesterday I was supposed to believe he's definitely coming yesterday, and he didn't come yesterday.
What is this? I don't know.
But anyway,
the lashon of the animamin, whoever's misakin it is a place. Whoever's misakin
yeah, fine.
But they say there was misakin.
Okay, I'll ask the same question a bit differently. Yeah, you have the mani man. Yeah, we say achakalei b'chol yom shiyafi. I wait is coming every day. The Rebbe spoke many times that what does it mean achakalei b'chol yom shiyafi? Some people say I wait is coming every day. They don't necessarily believe he'll come today. I don't expect him to come today. So the Rebbe says no. Achakalei b'chol yom shiyafi means achakalei b'chol yom shiyafi b'chol yom. I wait every day that he'll come that day. If you think about it a little bit, you realize there's a subtle difference here in the two pirushim how I tie with mechaka. The first person that's saying achakalei b'chol yom shiyafi means whenever he'll come, I wait. I want means I have a desire every day that he will come. It's achak is like just a taiva. Not I'm expecting him to come. The second pshat, which should emphasize, means achak means I expect him to come today. You see over here the difference between the two things? So I'm saying, so it's important to keep in mind what confuses people a lot. What I'm realizing in this whole thing is that people, it's important to identify what achak means. Because when you say achak le'v'chol Mashiach, what are you saying? Some people want to tie it to mean achak le'y, I desire that he'll come. If achak means I desire he'll come, it's okay, you could say I desire him to come today, but I could also learn, I desire that he should come. That's what the chiyuv is. I should feel a lack, I should want him to come. So I have to expect that he's coming today.
I want to win $100 million.
Yeah.
I want. And my wanting, I'm telling you I want it. And you believe me, I want it, right?
Well, you bought a lot of the tickets for that.
The pshat is are you going to the bank, you're going to invest things, and the money that you're going to make in it?
But anyway, so getting back to what I was saying. Now I'll explain to you that what my point is I'm trying to say is that many people, if you interpret mechake as just, if you just interpret it as a desire, as a want, it would be hard to understand why if I don't desire Mashiach to come, today I'm a kafir. I believe in Mashiach, deep down I can't say that I'm mamish, I feel a lack in my life, life is good and everything, I can't say I feel the lack. So if people for people it's a bit hard to understand if I'm not achakale in that context, that I want him, I desire him, I push feel the lack that I should be called a kafir. But again, that's because what are you focusing on? You're focusing on the taich of achaka as what? As a want, as a desire. But if you focus on achaka as I expect him to come, things change dramatically. As I discussed last week, if a person believes in Moshiach, but he says Moshiach will come whenever he'll come, I don't believe he's coming right now. He believes, he doesn't expect him to come. If he doesn't expect him to come now, he's in essence saying that he, if he's not coming that now, when is he going to come? If he says tomorrow, it means, like I said, not now.
Not tomorrow. Tomorrow means in 3 generations.
Yeah, I'll give you another dogma. I might have mentioned it, huh?
And you said your father said.
Yeah, he used to say, tell him I'll do it tomorrow in 5 minutes. So you mean not now?
Every now is every time.
So there's another nekuda here. There's I think I might have mentioned last time. Remember, what the Chafetz Chaim has a word. He says, "What means einim mechakel b'yasei?" That is misyoish mi b'yasei. He uses it's a feeling. You think I don't want to again? People bring the Chafetz Chaim. I think they totally take him out of context. So saying as long as you believe Mashiach will come, as long as you don't completely give up hope will come. So B'snish can care for. But I think he's saying something much more than that. I think what he's saying is that some people they gave up already. Shayna Zaylang and Golos, they don't think it's real. Such a person, what I'm saying now is you could agree, disagree. Saying such a person he wants Mashiach to come. Could be he's anticipating him. No, he really sees Tzadis is going. Could be he really has a great shukah for Mashiach. Yeah, but he seems it's a really practical Mashiach. They said 10 years ago he'll come. They said 20 years ago he'll come. No, I give up. He's Moshiach. Such a person, what is he lacking? He's not expecting him to come, but what it comes from is a lack of hope. Now, it's not a lack of desire. It's not that he's missing the mechaka of the desire he has. What he's missing is the hope. The hope is what's causing him not to expect. So I'm just highlighting that there's a number of angles here, what the word mechaka means. And it's sometimes when you have to keep in mind how it's expecting Mashiach to come has 3 basic layers. There's a feeling of lack, and then there's expectation and hope that the expectation will actually come to fruition. Now, last week I discussed a few explanations why someone doesn't expect Mashiach is a kafir, and I think the explanation that I left off with was what I said before, that if someone is based on the second interpretation of Mechaka, someone that believes in Mashiach, he desires Mashiach, but doesn't expect him to come, so in a certain sense he's lacking an emunah that he's actually going to come. I mean, that's what it boils down to. Now, the little problem with that approach, in other words, that this approach itself should explain the Rambam, is because according to this approach, we're not talking here about a feeling. We're talking here about a belief, something more in the realm of belief or which doesn't necessarily affect a feeling. According to this interpretation, mechaka means to expect. Expect doesn't have to mean that there's an anticipation in your heart, that there's a desire, there's a hope. It's expectation. It's not necessarily really so much in the realm of feeling. From the Lashon mechaka lebiyasa, where the Rebbe clearly learns this, the Rebbe learns that the Lashon mechaka is the Lashon of the hergish. This time I know, but there's a feeling involved. Now, again, I'm not rejecting that. I think the explanation still is pretty much has a lot of teichen to it, because if I expect him to come, there's obviously a feeling also. There's this anticipation involved, but in the Lashon of the Rambam, it also seems, and this is the way the Rebbe learns clearly, I'm not going to go to the Sichos, the Rebbe Sichos, he learns Mechaka L'Biyosei is a feeling of desire, of hoping, of waiting, of feeling a lack, of looking forward to something, of a feeling of wanting Mashiach. So the question is, why if I don't want Mashiach, in other words, why if I don't have that emotional desire and drive for Mashiach, am I called a kafir? If I just learn mechaka as an expectation, the question is the chayra answer. But if I learn that mechaka means beyond expectation, there's a desire, it needs to be explained. There's one other explanation that I saw last week after I gave the shir. It's an interesting vart again. I also, again, it's a nice vart. I'm not saying it's not a good answer, but I'm not 100% happy with it. Other people give interesting answers like this. If you look in the Rambam, in Pirush Mishnah, said the Rambam, like I mentioned last week, that's where also the Rambam writes, you have to believe he's coming, you shouldn't think he will delay, and so on and so forth. The Rambam then finishes off that somebody that denies Moshiach. And here you have words which vary based on the translations. One translation is Shenismait Etzlei My Losei. He believes in Mashiach, but he doesn't think Mashiach will be as great as the prophets make him to be.
Mashiach or
or whatever. It's not clear. The Lashon is that he minimizes Mashiach. Other places it says that he belittles the concept. Yeah. So the Rambam says he's a kafir because the Torah itself mentions so on and so forth. So the question is, what does the Rambam mean with these words? Some people want. Now, I don't know if you could read so much into the words. First of all, different translations seem to be saying different things. But some people want to say that the Rambam is trying to say it's not enough to believe in Mashiach. We have to believe that Mashiach is going to be top notch. So if a person believes in Mashiach, but he doesn't believe, it says don't overdo it. It's not nothing to make such a big deal out of. So then he might believe in a very basic version of Mashiach, but he's not ready to accept all the words of the Nevi'im, which make Mashiach as the greatest person that ever lived in certain aspects. So then he's denying Mashiach. So this nice pshatel comes here and says, again it's a pshatel. So what does Rambam mean? Some doesn't believe Mashiach, even some believes in Mashiach. But he doesn't believe enough in Mashiach to the extent that he should await his coming. Because the Rambam, they want to parallel the Rambam in Yad HaChazaka to the Rambam Pirush HaMishnayis. The Rambam Pirush HaMishnayis says if you don't believe, or if you minimize his coming, you're a kafir. So they want to try to parallel the two things. And Akdam to Perek Chelek, it's a net in Perek, where the Rambam writes a 13 Likri Emunah. So the 12th Likr of Moshiach. So they want to make a parallel. They write that when Ram says "Ein mechaka,"
it's a targum.
Yeah. I want to say the son is mechaka. It means that it's not the emotion. It's also a belief. But in other words, one person mechaka doesn't believe. Someone believes, but he doesn't believe in Mashiach to the extent that Mashiach is so great that he really should look forward to his coming. So then he's a kafir. Okay.
Shleim is also good.
Huh?
Being Shleim is good. So
yeah, whatever. So, according to this explanation, it's a nice pshat. The question is answered, but if that's pshat in the Rambam, I don't know.
I'm sorry to ask, but the Bias Moshiach, when we even commended, I don't know if it's one of the Tayag mitzvahs, Bisman Bais Rishon, which Melech Beyofye, which was Gilei Lekus. Ich jamut tot men gewalt von Moshiach, ich jamut wo jeden obligated to wait for Moshiach.
Das ist eine gute Scheile. Das ist eine gute Scheile.
Okay.
And the answer to them is, there's no clear source either way, but one thing like this, there definitely is the sources that I don't want to. I want to first finish up this thing.
Okay, that's a general.
Some people say yes. There is room to say yes. If it was a chiyuv or not, yes.
The Gemara is the Zerish to Moshiach, and the Gemara is Shaila in Shabbos. I think the Gemara is over there. All the things that he said, there was a smachta from a pasuk from Cheskel something. So he says, but till Cheskel said it, we kept it also. Elamai, before we had it, Maseda kept it over without Pashat.
Yeah, no. But the shaila is a very deep shaila. The shaila is you're supposed to anticipate. In other words,
the Shlomo Melech Mishayte, you want Mashiach to come.
Right. In other words, in time of Shlomo, there was Yidden weren't in Galus. Was Huh?
Moshe Rabbeinu, he said.
Yeah.
Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Shlach mi yatei Going to end with send us in the and the Mephoshim say, not only I'm not going to be the one to be Nachnasim Yisrael. The end of the day, you're going to send it with Mashiach. Send now Mashiach with it. What's the Pesach Shtemir?
Anyway, but this is a separate discussion. Let me continue. Let me just finish off. I don't know if I have time to finish off just with what I wanted to say.
No, that gives a little clue to the answer of Mechake. I mean, okay.
So, I'll tell like this again. The bottom line is, definitely from some sort, it seems that it wasn't to be Mechake L'Biyasa, even then if there was a Chi of Mamish, the way it is coming, I'm not so sure. Because I'll give you, explain it just a throw of word. The Rebbe says, why is the Chi of Mechake L'Biyasa not the Rebbe said. The Rebbe uses over the head. The Rebbe uses the lashon Mechake L'Biyasa is only in the Chadash Bizman HaGolus. The Chiv of Mechake L'Biyasa, the Rebbe uses that, but I don't want to go there right now. It's a separate discussion.
Oh, here you have Taki from Yaakov.
It's a separate discussion. It's a separate discussion. Anyway, the point is like this. The point is. The Rambam seems. If you look at the Rambam, what it boils down is like this. There's one thing that's believing in Mashiach. Then there's another thing is there's my emotional attachment to Mashiach. My emotional attachment to Mashiach means that I have a desire. In other words, I feel a lack without Mashiach. I want him to come. I hope for him to come. That itself is a separate chiyuv. It seems from the Rambam. There's belief, is in the realm of belief, and then in the realm of feeling. Now the question is, why is the realm of feeling so important that if I don't have that, if I have the realm of belief, I should be called a kafir? What I would suggest is like this. I think there's two ways to say it, but let's just go to the basics. What is the belief in Mashiach? And I think this is really, I mentioned a little bit last week, but I think it's important. I don't know if I'll be able to articulate it properly, but what is the belief in Mashiach? The belief in Mashiach is not just the belief that one day somebody will come and make life better, things will be different, things will be more complete. The belief in Mashiach is a realization that the world the way it is now is in Galus. The realization is not a belief in something that will happen in the future, it's a belief, it's an understanding that the reality of the world is such that it needs Mashiach. Without Mashiach, the world is not complete. This is the Emunah Mashiach. Why is the world incomplete? So the Rebbe says that ideally the Mechake L'Biyasa, I should await Mashiach for the spiritual, the aspects of Mashiach. There'll be a completion of Torah mitzvahs and so on and so forth. Not every Yid is on that level. It needs some spirit, gashmistic, some physical perks. Life will be great. But as Rambam writes, all delicacies will be as plentiful as the dust of the earth and so on and so forth. But there is very important that a Jew should have a desire for Mashiach. Why? Because the belief in Mashiach is not just a belief. Once comes like I mentioned last week, the belief in the Chiyas HaMeisim seems to be a very different type of belief. One day the Eibusher will revive the dead. Why? What? Where? When? And him? It's not part of necessarily from the halachic aspect. It's not included in my belief. I have to believe it will take place. I don't have to believe much more than that. The belief in Bias HaMashiach means that I believe that this is what's supposed to happen, not just that it will happen. It's much more than just a belief. It's an understanding of reality in such a way that I understand this is what needs to happen, because without it the world is incomplete. So if I have that, if that's the way my belief is, automatically there'll be a mechaka, automatically there'll be a feeling, there'll be a want, there'll be a hope, there'll be anticipation. If it's just an intellectual thing that I believe is going to come, my emunah won't be in the way of mechaka l'biyos. It won't be necessarily a feeling of the emunah b'yas Mashiach is essentially tied with the feeling of it, because Because the Emunah in Mashiach and the anticipation from it come from one and same source. It comes from a realization that the world the way it is can't go on the way it is. You can't just wipe it and go. Mashiach has to come. So a Yid that feels he wants Mashiach, he'll expect him to come. If you don't want Mashiach, means that in essence, similar to what you were saying, I just wanted to dig a little deeper, be able to identify. In other words, it's hard to say. People ask, in other words, if you look at it at the surface, I don't want Mashiach. Why am I denying Mashiach? It's very hard to say, you don't want Mashiach because you don't have such a good enough emunah. On the surface, I think it's hard to say that. But if you think about it a little bit, if I don't want Mashiach, it means I don't really feel that the world needs Mashiach. If the world doesn't really need Mashiach, why should I expect Mashiach to come? Why should I hope he will come? So my feelings about Mashiach are very much part and parcel of my faith, and they are necessary for my faith. If I don't have that feeling of wanting Mashiach and desiring Mashiach, so the whole thing of Mashiach to me, there remains some theoretical, abstract concept which I technically don't really believe is going to happen in a certain sense. In other words, and I'll say one more word, it's getting late, but it just adds a little more, it makes it a little bit clear. There's a word, the Mabit writes that it's just a very interesting thing. We say in the Imamin, even though he will tarry, never wait is coming every day. So the Mabit says the word, another Meforshim say it, the further time we're waiting for Mashiach and doesn't come, the more I await him. Why? And I'll explain to it a simple marshal. If you have a friend that tells you he's going to come over to your house tonight, okay, whatever it is, a cousin, okay, so you're expecting him, says the Chayes will come 8:15. You expect him, so 9:15, 10:15. The more time goes on, the bigger of a doubt you have if he'll ever come in the first place tonight, right? Well, let's say there's a mother that has to take care of her children. And she tells her children, I'm coming home 8:15. Every second that gets later, you're expecting, the more so she's going to come now, because you know for sure she's going to come. When you don't know something for sure is going to happen, the more time it takes, the more your doubts set in. When you know something for sure will happen, the more time goes on, the more you anticipate the coming. So if your understanding of Mashiach is such that you realize that the world has to have Mashiach, and it doesn't make sense that he's not here, then you're going to expect him to come. If not, if you don't really have that understanding which leads to that desire, that anticipation, and that hope, so technically it means you're going to start doubting, is he really coming in the first place? So this is just, again, I don't know if I was mechadish anything. I don't know if what I said is mamish punkt, but I think it's important to understand that if you cut down to the root of the chiyuv, of the obligations of desiring Mashiach and believing in Mashiach, it might seem first as two separate things. One is I believe it, one is do I really want it, don't I really want it? But technically, the belief and the desire go hand in hand. Because the same reason why I believe I would desire, if I desire means, whatever, anyway. Again, you could agree, disagree. This is just
the more perception you have. The world cannot survive, can't exist. It's coming. It needs.
That's why the Munah B'Yas Mashiach, the gather of Munah B'Yas Mashiach. Even though I didn't find halachic chiyuv, I have to believe that he's definitely going to come today, but I'm expecting him to come today. Because the whole Munah is that the way the world is now doesn't make any sense. It has to come. So it has to come now. But anyway, I think it is. If we don't give